our new spiritual leader, and every time I'm in his presence, I'm at awe because he's so knowledgeable, and I just can't probably get enough of his talk and speeches and hearing him talking about us. And I know that we have a great individual to lead us in the many, many years to follow. And at this time, I'd like to introduce our bishop, Bishop Gregory.
Thank you, Father Sam, and Bonnie, and St. Michael Host Committee Chairperson Judy, and the parishioners of St. Michael Church for putting together a beautiful weekend for us. We thank you very much. I know there were days when you thought no one would be here, and yet you see what we have. Due to your efforts and your prayers, we have had a fantastic weekend, and we thank you so much for that. Thank you to the Junior ACRY board that's led by President Tim. I'm impressed by our kids. I mean, I've been in youth ministry for 30 years. I have never seen a group of kids run a meeting the way they run meetings. Organized in how they are thinking and presenting things. The fact that they are mission-minded. The fact that they are philanthropic in their work. I mean, truly, you have really impressed me, Tim, with the young people. He has his boards, he has his members of the junior group. And I think if these young people continue to do well, we got nothing to worry about in this organization. Truly, you're fantastic. Continue the good work. Okay? The senior ACRY board, with their president, Amy, again, well organized. I've been involved in church groups 40 years. I'm impressed with what the ACRY can do. I was impressed when we polled back in May, and I was impressed by what we did this weekend. But because you were organized, because we were on the phone regularly with conference calls to take care of business during the time between the national meetings, so that when we got together, we didn't have to do a bunch of business. How cool is that? Get in here, get it done, and then have fun. That's what national groups ought to be doing. And from what I've seen in other groups and what I've heard about your history, you were doing what everybody else is doing. Hours upon hours upon hours of discussions and ideas. And then we go home and then we wait until next year's meeting so that we can talk some more, and talk some more, and talk some more. And then we leave. And we come back a third year and, didn't we talk about this 2 years ago? Yes, we did. Did we do anything about it? No, we didn't. That apparently has changed. And that's because Amy and her board are very active. They keep great minutes, correcting things. The financial stuff, I only wish our government was this clear with the way they spend money. Where the categories are, where it's coming from, where it's going, accountability. You're to be congratulated, all of you that are on this senior board. Thank you so much for your efforts. Now, thank you to all the rest of you who showed up in Chicago and allowed Father Sam to at least breathe during these days, because when I saw him on Thursday when he picked me up, it looked like he had not taken a breath in at least 4 or 5 hours, because he was worried about things. And yet you started to show up, and he started to get color in his cheeks again. What was it? I'd like to have a bottle down on the way home, please. I will talk to you. But you came. All of you came. Some of you got in your cars, loaded up with gas, and drove hundreds of miles to come to Chicago. Some of you got in the plane, spent a lot of money to come. You sacrificed other places in your life so you could be here. With who? Your friends. That's why you're here. Because of your friends. Not because of some meeting. Who cares? We can do that over the phone all the time. But you came to see people who are your friends, relatives. Maybe you don't see each other but once a year, twice a year if you bowl. But you come because you have great memories of the past years. And all these young people are creating new memories so that they will be the driving force in the years to come. The 21st century is only 13 years old. They're going to live the whole 21st century, these little ones. People like me are going to be gone soon. But they're going to be around. But they come with the right spirit. That's why they came to Chicago. There are many things that you could have been doing, but you decided to come here. And for that, I thank you personally, because I enjoy being in your company. And I wasn't going to come to Chicago and just sit in Father's house and stare at him. Now, if Connie was there, I could have some great conversations. I love you, Father Sam, you know that. If I didn't, I would have not said a word about you, period. Besides all the normal business that you did during these couple of days of the convention, which went, according to my eye, very smoothly. I have been involved in these kind of things behind the scenes, and I know that things like this are never as smooth as they appear. There are always glitches, last-minute changes, disasters that are coming, and yet, if you're a participant on the side that you were, you didn't see those things, because behind the scenes, everyone who was responsible scurried and took care of things. You know what I'm talking about if it's ever come to your town and you were part of that committee. And yet, we did everything we were supposed to do, and according to Amy, in record time. I don't know if that's because Amy and her board are so good, or they were afraid what the bishop would do if they ran late. Don't worry, I would have sat there all night with y'all if that's what you wanted to do. You weren't afraid, you were just doing your work. Now, one of the hazards of being later in the speaking series of people is that people have mentioned certain things. And so if it sounds like I'm stealing things from Father Sam, I wrote this stuff between 3 and 5 in my room when people thought I was taking a post-liturgical nap, and I was not. What else did we do here in Chicago? Well, we watched a normal Cubs game at Wrigley after a very exciting adventure on the subway or the L. I made that same trip in 1994 when I saw my first Cubs game. I was here with the Greek Archdiocese for our biennial clergy laity. 2,000 Greek Orthodox were in Chicago having their national meeting. The second day, it was my first time there ever. And I was so dedicated to doing the right thing. And so I went to the sessions that were provided the first day, coat and tie. I was pretty impressive. And the second day, I went to the morning sessions, and I went into the lunch that the ladies' Philoptochos always has on the Tuesday. And they had some kind of salad, fruity thing. And I sat down to eat it before everybody else showed up because I want to get out of there, because I want to do some other things. And a priest from Fayetteville, North Carolina came and said, "George," that's my baptismal name, "what are you doing this afternoon?" "Well, Father, I'm going to go to this session on the budget and the bylaws, and I want to see what they got about religious education." And he says, no, "What are you doing this afternoon?" I said, "Father, I'm going to go to these sessions on stewardship and these other things that they have." "No, my son," he says, "what are you doing this afternoon?" I said, "Father, I don't know. What am I doing this afternoon?" He says, "Cubs game." I said, "Okay, when?" He says, 10 minutes. Go upstairs, change out of your suit and tie, put on some shorts, tennis shoes, let's go. We got to catch the L." And that's what we did. I disappeared for 5 hours. No one knew where I was, except this priest and 2 other people from his parish. We ride out to Wrigley, just like we did the other day. And we get there, and he says, "What kind of seats are we going to buy?" I said, "What kind of seats are we going to buy?" "The best seats in the house. Whatever's available. And you're buying them," I said. He says, "Okay, if you'll buy the beer." I said, "Deal." And so we sat on the opposite side of where we sat the other day, on the first base side, 8 seats up from first base. Box seats. What a day. Cubs actually didn't play the normal way, and they won that game. But the other day I had my Cubs game again, up 5-1. Somehow the Cubs lost 6-5. Of course, there were a lot of Philly fans there. I estimate 35% of the people in the stands were Philly fans, and some of them from our group. If you're from the Philly fan group, just raise your hand for a moment. We don't care. And they were saying things like, "Let's go Phillies." And they were drowning out the "Let's go Cubbies." I was going, man, what a place to be a fan. You know your team's never going to win. Ever. Of course, the game wasn't enough, so we experienced a tremendous thunderstorm on the way back. We're on the subway, we're getting close to our little place to get off. The sky is getting extremely dark. We're starting to worry. It's looking like we're going into hell, actually. That dark, that windy. And it starts raining 2 stops from where we're going to get out. And man, was it wet on the way back. The next morning, I was listening to the radio broadcast from Charlotte, North Carolina. If you don't have this app on your phone, it's called TuneIn Radio. It's free. You have access to 50,000 radio stations around the world. I listened to the radio stations from Charlotte, Atlanta, New Orleans, places where I used to live, just to see what's going on. The number 1 news story that day was what's going on in Chicago. It rained 3 inches. 1 hour, 70-mile-an-hour winds, and Father Sam had 3 trees fall in his yard. That was all on the news, Father, if you can believe it. You don't believe it, I don't believe it. That was Friday. Saturday, of course, some of you went shopping and you went sightseeing. This is outside of our regular meetings. We had made a very, very interesting visit to an Orthodox church, where a priest who was a martyred saint used to serve as a clergy. That's very special. Afterwards, we had that delicious Ukrainian dinner, and some of you went down to the pier to watch the fireworks. Well, aren't you coming to the fireworks, Bishop? No, I have liturgy the next day. I can't be out till midnight watching fireworks. I'll be totally useless come liturgy. I have to get my beauty sleep too. And today we have this divine liturgy that's a rare double. A rare double. The fact that we ordained Deacon Jonathan to Father Jonathan. By the way, Father Jonathan, you have 2 hours and 15 more minutes as the number one priest that dies. At midnight, you turn into a pumpkin. And of course, we also ordained Subdeacon Peter to Father Deacon. Father Deacon, you have 2 hours and 14 minutes until you turn into a pumpkin. Again, at the bottom of the list of the deacons. But today, you're number one, my friend. Enjoy it the best you can. And of course, we have, as I said, we have a new Pani and a new Diakonissa and those 2 DKs, those deacon kids. Afterwards, of course, we have that beautiful brunch under the big top tent. I have eaten all kinds of brunches in my life. My father ran a Greek restaurant. I worked there for I don't know how many decades. Never did I have scrambled eggs with lamb. Ever. And I'm Greek, we eat lamb. But not for breakfast. It was, however, delicious, and if you enjoyed it, if you were there, I know that you enjoyed it very much. This afternoon, we had something very beautiful, trying to figure out what ACRY is going to look like in the 21st century. This workshop that was attended by several people who worked in small groups. Things were written down, and I'm looking forward to seeing the results of that. The next step, you know, what ACRY was, you know. What it is today, we have some idea. But what's the future going to look like? We have to figure that out so we can be a relevant organization. Camp Nazareth. If you were a camper, a counselor, a member of Team Leposki, or another adult who was at Camp Nazareth this summer, please go to the center of the room right now. Apprehensively, they're moving to the middle of the floor. Get out there, Andy. Joshua, we're waiting for you, buddy. Get out there. I want you to look now for just a moment at what's on the floor. We have clergymen who are on the floor. We have adults who are on the floor. We have our children on the floor. If you want to know what Camp Nazareth means and why you have supported it all these years, look on the floor. This is our group of kids. I was there for 3 weeks. Did we have fun or did we not? Yes. Oh, I can't hear you. Oh, yes. Thank you so much. You're dismissed. According to my calculations, there are exactly 321 days until we meet again at camp. When your bishop knows how many days until camp starts, you don't have the normal kind of bishop. I don't think any other bishop can tell you when their camp's going to start, how many days. I know. This is the most important ministry we have for our young people. The most important. They're going to be Orthodox for a whole week. They're going to be awake as Orthodox Christians. 18 hours a day. They're going to sleep as Orthodox Christians 6 hours a night. That's if they sleep 6 hours. Of course, they never do. But for 1 week, that perfect week, when the outside world is not impacting them, when their electronics have been turned off, and they are living with their brothers and sisters in Christ, that's what it's all about. I challenge them to take that away from there and bring it into the world that they live in. All the things that they learned about, all the methods that we taught them, to stay true to their faith. I hope they're continuing it now, 6 weeks out from camp. If your kids didn't go to camp in your parish, there were teenage kids, that 8 to 18 group, next year you have to make sure they come. All of them. No one's to be left behind. Money is not an object. No child will be denied Camp Nazareth for money. Now, if they're going to be doing something else that's bigger than Camp Nazareth, okay, I get that. But no child's going to be sitting at home in the summer not coming to Camp Nazareth at least 1 week, if not more. We had about 325 kids, a little over 100 every week. My vision is to have at least 5 weeks at camp that's just our kids with 150 kids. Which means in the future I will come to this group and others to build more dorm space to house our kids. So if you're thinking of what to do with your wealth if you win the Powerball, your bishop has an assignment for you. Think about your kids, your grandkids, your godkids, the ones that are here now and the ones that are going to be coming, and what we can offer them. I'm serious about that. I really am. It's the #1 ministry. The #1 ministry for our diocese is what we're going to do with these young people. If we blow it with them, there won't be an ACRY, there won't be a Carpatho Russian church, there'll be nobody around to sing the memorial services for us when we're gone. But if we do our job, there'll be an ACRY. There will be a Carpatho Russian church, and there will be people to sing our memorials when we're gone. It's up to us, adults. The kids are looking to us for direction. We can do it. Let's not let them down. I always like these little program books. They have so much material in them that I can use spontaneously. Please pick up your book and open it so that you can see the cover like this. Open up the back. And I believe this is the Chicago skyline, is that correct, Sam? You didn't have to borrow Johnstown's or anything like that?
Very simple. Oh, there was a fog there.
You would have used it, but there was a fog. I will vouch for that. What interests me about this is the fact that Chicago has a little bit of a bad rap right now, Father. And I won't go into the details, not Niles, but Chicago, the area. But if the cross on the cover, the 3-bar cross, became truly something of the skyline of Chicago, and if on the back the double-headed eagle of the ACRY was truly part of Chicago, the city would be different. Not necessarily because of ACRY, because there are good people there, but because of that 3-bar cross. It means that Christ is in their midst. When Christ is in our midst, things are better. There are probably parts of this area where there is no Christ at all. I'm not picking on Chicago. Look at your own town. You have the same problems. We all have. Johnstown, 20,000 people. But it's important what you are and what you have been and what you will be. I'm not an advocate of getting rid of anything. I'm an advocate of maximizing what we have. Your history is very important, not only for yourselves because you are proud of who you are, but because of the children. They need to know where they have come from. Don't neglect that in any way. Encourage your kids to have chapters in the parish. We only have 3 kids. I don't care. Have a chapter of 3. The 3 Musketeers did a lot. It's just 3 of them. Include them in everything. And that way we can be very happy with the results. Because if you don't take the effort, the society will gobble them up. We will lose them. And I don't want that at all. And I know you don't want that. So don't be lazy. Give them everything that you have. I don't say spoil them. Let's not make them brats. But let's give them what they need so they can move forward. Because from this group of young people, the next generation of priests is going to come if they are males. If they're females, they're going to be leading the ladies' auxiliaries. They're going to be presidents of parish councils. This is where the next wave of leaders will come. From this group's children. Where else can they come from? If a child doesn't know anything about ACRY, doesn't know anything about summer camp, doesn't know anything about altar boy retreat, what do we expect from that child? Nothing. I expect nothing from them. But I will blame the parents if I see the parents of a child that is neglected and not coaxed to be part of the organizations of the church. And so I don't scold you. I don't want you to take this as a scolding because you're here. The ones that are not here are the people that I am sort of upset with. Okay? I have found the bowling alley in Johnstown, just so you know. I have signed up for a membership, sort of like Gold's Gym. I have not gone, not even once. I know where it is. I have not signed up for anything, trust me. Father Frank has got me too busy to do any of that stuff. But I'm looking forward to bowling with you again in the spring. In New Jersey, Elizabeth, New Jersey, correct?
Yes.
That's good. I know Father John is already sweating the fact that I'm coming for bowling. And then in Phoenixville, we will show up for the convention next year. We're going to have a great time there too. There's no reason that we shouldn't. Our cities have so many things we can do outside of the business. And I'm looking forward to these things. Because I'm from the South, I'm not from the North. I don't travel around up here much. I don't get to see the things of the cities. The history that I read about in my history books. I've not been to Valley Forge. I want to go to Valley Forge. Maybe I will come up a couple days early and just travel on my own. Give me reasons to come and see you. That's 2 of them right now. The national meeting and the national bowling tournament. Those are on the calendar. Invite me to your parishes. Encourage your priests. Some of the priests, I've not heard from them yet since my ordination. Like, don't come, don't come. Tell them, Father, the bishop wants to come and visit us. Have you called him? To say, hey, come and visit us. I'll see what I can do. How can I know you if I don't visit you? But how can I come if you don't invite me? I mean, my schedule for Christmas is already full, so if you're thinking about inviting me now, forget it. But next year, one parish already has me on their calendar for 2015. 2015 is 2 years from now, because they're celebrating something in their parish life. Maybe you have something going on with your ACRY local chapter or something that you want me to come and just be part of. Let me know. Maybe I'm free. Maybe I'll come just for that. Then I'll get back on my donkey and I'll go back to Johnstown. I love you guys. Somehow, it has turned out beautiful for me. I don't know why. I didn't do anything special, I think, for God or anything, but He has put me in a good place. And you have made it very welcoming. And so I thank you for that. As I said in May, I'm going to the World Series. Father Zach, I don't know who's buying my tickets, but I'm going to the World Series. It's you, Butchek, and a few others over there in Pittsburgh. Figure it out. Let me know, but at least all the home games. That would be 4, okay? But at least get me in one of them, okay? Everybody see him do his head like this?
I'm going to ask for a diocesan loan.
I don't care what you do. It's only 7 after 10. I'm the last speaker. And I really don't have a flight out of here until tomorrow afternoon. But I'm going to sit down now so that we can finish up with the program, and then we can go out and be with each other in the lounge area or wherever you want to be. Some of you have early trips tomorrow. Safe travels to all of you. Those that are going to be a little bit later coming out, of course, we can hang around and talk if you want. But it's been fun. I have really enjoyed Chicago. Thank you again, Father Sam, and all your people. Where are the 2 young ladies that brought me the flowers? Come back up here now. Quickly, come quickly. That means fast. There are 12 of them. Divide them in half. Like the baby in Solomon. Okay?